Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hello, folks. My name's Ed Overstreet, and I am the Night Sky Imager. And I'm not sure my sound is working good. I've been uh, tweaking a few things here, and apparently it is, according to my sound levels. So if it's not, it's going to be a live imaging session with no sound. I'll find out in a little while. That's one of the interesting things about going live. If something can go wrong, it does go wrong. Tonight I'm going to be imaging with two telescopes, two different telescopes, and I'm going to take you outside. We're going to show you what I'll be using, and we got to share the screen in order to do that. And so I have a Newtonian and an ASI 533 monochrome camera on it with a set of Astrodon 3 nanometer filters, and we're going to be doing hydrogen alpha, oxygen 3, and S2. And I think, I don't remember what this is going to be imaging. I think this is the elephant trunk, though, IC 1396. And if that's the case, then this is going to be on the Pelican, which is IC 5070, the Pelican Nebula. And at any rate, this is the Vixen ED81S, and it has an ASI 1600 monochrome camera with a filter wheel that has HA03S2 as well, and those are astronomic 6 nanometer filters. Both of these have Moonlight electronic focusers, and so that's the setup. Both mounts are Atlas Pro EQAZ mounts. So underneath are two laptops. Each one is designated for a rig, and off to the right is my solar outfit, which we are clearly not using tonight. So let's go outside, and I'll catch you in a second. Okay, we sure don't need that. Let's head back outside. That was earlier today, and we share my screen. And what we want to do is go out to kit number 1. So this is the Newtonian, and this has the ASI. This has the ASI 533, and we're doing IC 1396, the elephant trunk, with this one. So let's make sure we've got our outside camera set up. We do, and let's go ahead and slew to the target. I've already cooled down to -10. It is right now 71 degrees outside, and relative humidity is around 60%. And it looks like we may go the night without dew, because the temperature and the dew point do not look like they're going to collide. So fingers crossed that that's the case. But at any rate, let's go ahead and slew to the elephant truck, and we're off. And let's go outside and see that that's happening. And yep, shouldn't have to travel too far. It has stopped. Let's center it. We're plate solving. I've already booted up Cortez du Ciel, however that's pronounced. I have no clue. I pronounce it in my redneck South Carolina way, and that's what I do. The mount is about right there on the elephant trunk, and it's still trying to capture and solve. took an image. It's comparing it with a star-based catalog that's loaded on my computer for faster plate solving. And we're using Planeways Plate Solve 2 to plate solve. And it failed, and are we ever off? We're off almost 7,000 pixels. 3,200 pixels in RA and almost 7,000 in declination. So while that's trying to figure out where it is in the sky and find my target and center it, and it will, let's head over to the other kit and send it on its way. And this one is IC5070. It's the Pelican. So let's click up our, no, we don't want to put our camera to sleep. Let's click on our planning tool, and we're real low in the sky right now. My target is roughly 35 degrees. I'm looking here and pointing to where the target is, and I'll be able to image 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 hours. That's it. And so I don't have a lot of imaging time. About up to transit time we'll be imaging. And so let's slew and get over there, and let's bring up our outside camera, and let's see if it's also headed. They're about in the same, they're in the same part of the sky. It just so happens that they're not too far apart, probably about 15-20 degrees, if that, 10 degrees apart. And we want to plate solve, so we're going to click center, and let's go back to the other kit. It's solved. We're now 35 pixels off in RA and 15 off in declination, so we're good. So let's hit to PhD and let's start looping, and let's find a star. We're using multi-point referencing, and let's start guiding. I already did a already ran Guiding Assistant earlier, and it recommended a low of 1.5 second and a high of 3, so I'm a hair on the low side, and so we're off in guiding. I just want to make sure that all of those parts are working, and let's go ahead and run a sequence. Now I've already taken 30 HAs, 25 O3s, and 25 S2s. I did that 2 nights ago. I was planning on going live last night and finishing this, but I would like to have about 8 or 9, maybe 10 hours of this, and when all said and done. So we're going to take 20 more HA and 15 and 15 and no, 25 and 25 O3 and S2. So that's the plan, and let's go ahead and run the sequence. It's going to slew again, and it's going to set the guider on hold. It's going to re-slew to the target. It's assuming that we might not be guiding, and we've had drift since I first plate solved, so it's going to do another plate solve. And while it's doing that and starting the first imaging session, let's head over to I'm using a different, we're 5 degrees off in RA, 15 in declination. So let's make sure PhD is ready to rock and roll. We are going to pick a star. We're also going to, we have a 1.5 second recommendation by Guiding Assistant. So let's see where we are. Okay, we're off and running. Let's head back and let's run the sequence. It's going to disconnect the guider for the time being so that it can slew to the target and do one more plate solve. I could cut that out because I just now plate solved, and but this goes pretty fast when you have already located the and centered the target, because it hadn't drifted but a pixel or two. I'm going to stay up a while tonight. I won't be live the whole time, but I'm going to stay up a while tonight and I'm going to run the PinPro pep curve and create some new pet curves. At any rate, we have centered. We're resuming the auto guider, and we probably are already, oops, don't need the camera now. We can turn off our outside cameras so it can stop bugging us. And now let's go back over to our other setup, and we're resuming the auto guider over there. We have plate solved, and why hasn't that started? It has. So why haven't we started image? Okay, we started. So we're taking our first picture of the elephant trunk, and it's a 240-second image. We're on a very fast Newtonian at f4.9, no, f3.9. It's an f3.9 very fast Newtonian, and although I'm using HA, which filters everything but the HA bandwidth, I'm still going to run it at about 240 seconds. I could probably go at 180 at the speed of this Newtonian, but one thing about the elephant trunk I've noticed is that the images don't display a lot of nebulosity at capture time, but once you combine all your HA, O3, and S2, it really reveals itself. Unlike, let's say, the Pelican Nebula, which one individual Pelican Nebula shows a great deal. So let's head over there and see what it's doing. So we're at kit number 2, and we're counting down. We're running a, now we don't have a fast Vixen because I have a Hotech field flattener on it, but I don't use a reducer. The Vixen is at 625 millimeters, and I like that focal length a lot. And if I want to get wider, I have a Stellarvue 70T that I put on for more wide field imaging. But I really like the fact that this Vixen, when you combine it with the Hotech field flattener, really gives you some decent stars from corner to corner. And actually, the Vixen does a pretty good job without the Hotech. But the Hotech just really makes it just that much better. You know, the guiding's looking like it's okay here. I saw something before I left, a crazy RA spike and a slight deck spike. So I'm wondering if something didn't hit my mount. I don't think it was when they're side by side. I would have something on the other one, but I'm wondering if a bird or something didn't land on it. Something happened there. That's pretty interesting. Okay. That may mess up this image, by the way. We're at 67 seconds. And it could be that I had a guide cable that might have been just slightly hung up that dropped. It doesn't take much to create. Oh, got to tell you what I did. I spent, my gosh, it's been a week or so ago. I was spending some of the best nights imaging, and my guiding on one of those mounts, one of my EQ8, my Astro Pro Atlas Pro mounts, was terrible, and the other one was outstanding. And I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I do a fairly good job of cable management. I didn't think it was that, but it was just all over the place. And so I was using a relatively new pet curve that I had created in PinPro, and so I was fairly sure, this one ain't going to work. Do I have a light on outside? I don't think I do. Did my neighbor turn a light on outside? Let's have no auto stretch. That's insane. Let's delete this one. Mark it as bad. Yeah, like I said, if something can go wrong, it will. Anyway, back to my story. It turned out that I didn't have the clutches secured. So I'm surprised that the mount even moved. It's a pretty tight, those mounts are pretty tight, but it did plate solve. It did take it a while to plate solve, but it did plate solve. And but the tracking was insane, and that was why. So a fundamental rookie kind of mistake. And I was telling some folks in our astronomy group that when I first started, I had a checklist, and I would step one, polar line. Step two, do a 3-star alignment. Step three, don't bump them out, you know. And so I went through all of my routine, and I need to probably go back and do something like. In fact, I'm much older, and I really have cause to do something else. Well, I don't see any other unusual spikes going on, but I am a little bit miffed because this exposure worked great last night. I don't know what caused this, and I'm curious to see if it happens again. By the way, this is a new camera. I just got it last Friday, and first time I used it was not last night, but the night before last. Clouds killed last night. The night before last is when I got these images here. And so I think this is a freak show right here. But anyway, let's go see what the other one did. The other one's blown out. I know we're in trouble because we're both aimed at the same place. Okay. So this is the elephant trunk in HA. Let's stretch it. Let's stretch it some more. And not the elephant trunk, the pelican. So, and again, this is at 625 millimeters. So you can see some of the nebulosity. But it's not as good as it was last night, and I know we have some thin layers of clouds going on outside. As a matter of fact, I want to look outside, which I should have done this before. Yeah, we're located right here in South Carolina, and I've got this mess coming down, so I'm on the fringe of this right now, and I run a great risk, really, of maybe getting sprinkled on before the night's over. So I'm going to be up with it for a while, and I want to go back, though, and make sure that we got 36 seconds left on this image. And if this one turns out to be crazy bad like that, I'm going to shut things down and try some different exposure. I didn't change the gain on this, did I? Let's see. No, we're at 139. We're at unity gain. So, all right, here's the second one, and we're in deep doo-doo. All right. I don't understand. Are we on the HA filter? We are. All right, let's just pause and abort this. And let's leave the channel up. Let's bury that for a minute. And let's take a 20, let's unbend. Let's go 1-to-1. And let's take a 60-second HA. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. I may be setting the camera back. Because even with the Newtonian at even the Newtonian, which is fast, and the HA filter this shouldn't be happening. Let's have no stretch. When you have no stretch, let's have a low stretch. You know what? Look over here. This is incredible. I am blown out. Okay, now there's a 60-second image. And let's put a high stretch on it. And you can kind of see an outline of the nebula. Huh. Let me bring up, let's go outside. Let's go to the 18th when I shot this. These are the lights. And here's an HA. So let's open this up. And let's see what a 240-second. I don't want to open it up in Sequence Generator Pro. Oh, I could have. Okay. So this is what I took last night. And it is blown out. Or 2 nights ago. Well, lo and behold. Let's have no stretch. I'll be daggone. So everything that I took, Okay, we got some thanking to do. I'm going to reset everything. I'm going to reset my progress on that one. I'm going to reset my progress on this one. I'm going to reset my progress because I haven't looked at the data. I just took it. The first images came in, and I really just assumed I was right on target exposure-wise. I'm going to change the exposure to let's try 120 seconds, and we're going to do we'll do 50 each, so that'll be 5 hours worth. I won't get that much in. Let's do 40. I can get this in though. I can get 4 hours in, and let's go back out here, and let's take all of these, which are going to be bad. I'm going to select them. I'm going to delete them. So everything I took, I'm getting rid of. All right, let's start running the sequence. So now we're boarded. We're slewing to the target. I'm looking down here. We're going to do a recenter. We're going to start the guider back up, and we're going to actually it's going to do an autofocus, which is fine because we've had about a 3 or 4 5 degree temperature change since I ran Guiding Assistant back at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 9:30 or so. It's been a couple of hours and the temperature's dropped. So, and it's running a V curve, and it's going to focus. Set the new focus for the HA filter. I have this set up so that every time there's a filter change, or every time there's a 2 degree temperature drop, that we refocus. And that takes some time away from your imaging, but it proves prudent because your stars show so much better. So we solved with 90% quality, then at a 1.6 half flux radius. We are ready to rock and roll. Now we're going to slew to the target, recenter, start this O sequence over again. And while it's playing, it's, oh, why did I click on that? We don't need to go outside. But we did, and there are the 2 scopes poised and ready to do damage. One already is already doing some, hopefully, good work. So let's go back and check it out. We have, what have we taken so far? We were at 25, so we've taken 2 images. So we were 2 seconds left in this image, and it's downloading it. It's getting a little darker, and we're shooting over the, well, not over the horizon, but 35 degrees is, and we're shooting over the city of Spartanburg, which is a good ways away from my home. We're in suburbia, but it's a good ways away, but it's still the most light polluted area of my sky. And my skies are rated at 19.70. And I just took a sky quality rating, meter reading last night. I do them every night, but I haven't tonight. I'll go out in about an hour and check the sky, see if there's any clouds rolling in, see if there's any moisture coming down. And we'll have to babysit this. It's one of these nights where I'll watch the weather because I don't want to get rained on. There's too much in the way of electronics, from the laptops to the Pegasus Ultimate Power Boxes to the cameras themselves, that I don't want to get wet. The focuser, electronic focuser, I don't want any of it to get wet. And so now my gear stays up year round. I have the Pegasus Ultimate Power Boxes that I use for everything. I just ordered another one. I'm gonna have to send one in to get repaired, but I have 3 kits outside, and I have Ultimate Powerbox version 2s on each one. They serve as a hub for your data and for your power. It makes cable management so much easier, and COM port control much more manageable. It's the best investment. It's one of the best investments in my imaging that I've made. I've made some stupid ones. Everything I bought in the first 2 years, I rarely use now, but I had to have it. I told my wife I think it's probably a smart idea for us to have my Social Security check direct deposited either to OPT, Woodland Hills, or High Point Scientific, and make it a lot easier. You just tell me what my balance is and what I can spend. I don't know why all hobbies seem to suck the bank account on a daily basis. Okay, we're looking okay here. This is a pretty extreme stretch. I'm gonna go back to a low stretch. Stars are looking pretty tight, pretty sharp from corner to corner on my Vixen, so I'm pretty pleased with that. So everything is moving along as it's supposed to. Guiding seems to be, I'm glad my heart doesn't have this sine wave, but I'm glad PhD does. And we can go back to fit the screen. Let's head over to the other kit. We've got our first image, and these 3 nanometer Astrodome filters really don't let in a lot of light. I'm still, great day in the morning. I'm still, what is the, hang on a minute. Crap. I'm gonna have to make some changes here. I'm at 29. Wow. 2900 ADU as a medium. Alright, back to the drawing board. This ain't gonna work. We can go ahead and put the outside cameras to sleep. We don't need them. Pause. Abort. I was so sure this would be right. Now we're going to go to 90 seconds. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change the gain. I got an offset of 50. I'm going to change the gain offset down to about 15 and the gain down to, let's go down to 60. 60. Now let's go back up to Unity. That maximizes everything. And this has a quantum efficiency of about 95 in the red band. This blows my mind. That means that every photon, out of every 100 photons, about 94 are converted into electrons. That's pretty impressive. And that's one of the reasons why overall, on all the bandwidths, it's about an average of 85 QE. Compare that to about 50 for the ASI 1600 monochrome camera. So from 50 to 85, out of every 100 photons, 85 are converted into electrons. That's signal. So that's what kind of caused me to drop the dime on the ASI 533. All right, what are we going to do? 90 seconds? I ought to just sit over there with frame and make a figure it out there, but now we can go 60, 60, 60, not 600 at we got 4 hours worth, and we're wasting time doing this. So I'm gonna go back out to my light frame. We're going to delete this one because, as it turned out, it was too much. And let's resume. We're going to go ahead and just start at 90. I elected not to re-slew, run another autofocus, but we're going to have to get this ADU down and get us a decent histogram. That's El Nutso. We were blowing out all of our stars, I guess. So there would have been no color at all in the stars. All clipped. You know, 90, that's the problem we have, and it's a good problem because you can get by with shorter exposures. So that means your guiding didn't have to be all that good. So it's very forgiving when you have bad guiding nights or bad seeing nights, and then ultimately bad guiding nights. But these are so fast that if you're not careful, you've blown out your star. If you're not paying, and I haven't been paying attention, I just assumed I had it all figured out. Wrong. Again, that's like my clutches not being tightened down. I even went outside and played around with the cables, and because I couldn't understand why one mount was doing so well and the other mount was doing so poor, and they're exact same mount, although that can happen. It wasn't normally the case. Yeah, we're in good shape now. That's still higher in Whopper, but we still have, this is what we're doing. Yep, this is what we're doing. There's our elephant trunk right there. I could actually take this down to 60 seconds. Let me see what, let me go back to my image and let me click on one of these stars. I'm looking down here. And it's not blown out. Yes, it is. It's at 65, the maximum's at 65,000, so goodness gracious, guys. All right, back to the drawing board. Stop it. Abort the whole thing. Delete the one picture we took. Go back here, reset, progress for event 1. And we're going to change this to 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Can't believe I'm doing this. It's sort of embarrassing to be so off. 90. We'll take 90. I'd rather take longer exposures at fewer seconds or fewer numbers. I can process everything so much faster than having a stack of 270 images to play around with. All right, here we go. Let's go back up to the other kit, and it's still trucking along. Guiding still doing okie dokie. This is a histogram I'm looking for. Right here. That's a histogram for you. Not one that's bucking up against the clipping in the brights and the lights. I've got no clipping in the darks. This is a good histogram. Yay, ASI 1600 and astronomic filters. I really, in some respects, I don't know what I'm doing with the Astrodon filters, and I really need to put them up for sale and buy another set of the astronomic 6 nanometer filters, because the 3 even let in less light, and still I don't get it. But here's our first image, and now we're cooking. The maximum is 1420. Now we're cooking. Let's do a high stretch, and we see the outline of the, yeah, we're cooking okay now. Let's go back to a low stretch. Let's get with our star here, and that one is blown out. That one's not. We're still pretty hot, but we have a mean that I can work with, a mean ADU that I can work with, so yay. All right, folks, we're off and running on the elephant now, and this is my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got to shoot a concert on Friday night. Halfway looking forward to it, halfway not looking forward to it. It's Dwight Yoakam, and I don't know who the other guy is, another more a younger country singer, but he's coming to Spartanburg Auditorium in Friday night. So I do some concert photography. My primary vocation is sports photography: football, baseball, basketball, tennis, golf, soccer, lacrosse. I take about 200,000 pictures a year of sporting events. And when I get a chance at night, I image deep space, planets, and during the day, the sun. But at my age, I really slowed down on the sports photography, but I enjoy it. I enjoy walking the sidelines and getting to know the players and the coaches. And I am kind of a sports nut. So I guess we're going to be okay here, and I'm going to end this live imaging session. Again, this one is the Elephant Trunk IC1396, and this rig over here is IC5070. I am using Sequence Generator Pro, and it is my imaging software. I love it, and it's my software of choice. Although I have Sky Safari Pro, and I have Stellarium loaded, I also have Starry Nights version 8 loaded. I prefer Cortez Lucille on my laptops outside because it takes very little memory, and you can search your targets. You can pick yourself a part of the sky that you want to run your guiding system on, and for example, I'm looking at the meridian, and if I was going to run guiding assistant, I'd click on a star about right here, and that would be at deck plus 80. I don't want that. I would go down here. Oh, that I'm currently at deck 86 is where I'm imaging. But I'd pick a star around 0 declination, just right of the meridian, and or just an area of the sky. There's stars everywhere. You don't have to pick a star. Just pick an area of the sky to slew to. PhD will find a star in whatever area you slew to. Just make sure you're slewing to an area about 0 declination to the right of the meridian, west of the meridian, and then run your guiding assistant. Voila. And I'm going to be running PinPro later on tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sign off and set that up. But I'm going to run PinPro, and this does a great job of creating pet curves. I may do a tutorial on how I use that. I connect my gear, and it's connected. I connect my camera. I turn PEC off. And I go up to the wizard, and I don't want to do this now because it will move. It'll create a find a star, and it will center it. I don't want to mess up my imaging, but I'll run this in a little bit after I get some images coming in, and start guiding again and start imaging again while this is running, and get a new pet curve. And that's what I'll do. Although my guiding's going fine, I don't know that I really need one. We're at 86, a total RMS of 86, which is, I don't know if that's fine. It's pretty good. So at this wide field, it's fine. And here we are, back at IC 57, the Pelican. And stars look good here too, and over here stars look good too. Here there's 2 stars side by side right here. I thought for a moment there's 2 stars side by side here. I thought for a moment that I was having some issues, but there's 2 stars side by side there, and 2 stars side by side there, and 2 stars side by side there. I was looking at that and thinking, oh crap, got bad stuff going on, but I don't. Fit to screen, guiding's fine. We got our median down, mean down ADU. We're not blowing out our stars. And when stretched, which we'll do, this is a low stretch, when stretched adequate enough, we'll pull our data out. Last night when the clouds came, I was planning on going on live and starting this imaging, or finishing this imaging session. So I took advantage of the clouds, and I just took flats, a new set of flats for both kits, and a new set of darks at -10 degrees in some pretty warm weather. And so I just did calibration frames. I set a bias, and also I sometimes use bias, depends on how quickly I want to get through processing. But I've started using dark flats, and I like them. So I like the results I'm getting with those. So, all right, guys. Well, you got what I got, and other than setting up PinPro after I get some images coming in and get an inventory and check the clouds and make sure that I'm going to have, I need about an hour of, I know there won't be any clouds to affect me time to run PinPro through about 6 cycles, and 6 cycles of the worm gear in order to create a good pet curve. And so I'm going to check it out in just a few minutes. So everybody, catch you later, and make sure that you get out when you can and take some up pictures and share them.